welcome to Mia's and Christian's podcast channel. Today we present life lessons. Enjoy. Hey guys, how's everyone doing today? Today is October the 10th, 2025. Today is Friday. We're so happy. But unfortunately, my break comes to an end on Monday, and Christian still has another whole week, so lucky Christian. So, say hey, Christian.
What's up, guys? How are you doing?
So, today we actually have a suggested comment that we got. It's not on any of our videos yet, but it was anonymous. So they told me that we should talk about life lessons, and I was like, okay, that sounds, pretty cool. We could go into detail with that because it's very important to understand what life is and how life works around us and stuff. So I'm gonna start off this time because last time Christian started us off. Thank you. So life lessons, it can mean tons of things. Life lessons could be something that you are barely going through or already almost there achieving it or going through it at the moment. Life lessons can be like, bad things happen, but then good things happen, and it brings us back into religion and stuff. We pray and pray, but that's something that it means to me. Christian, what do you think life lessons can fall into, or what does it mean to you?
Well, I would have to definitely agree with what you're saying, Mia. So, life lessons really mean for example, how you manage your money, or learning life skills like driving, cooking, independently things. And I know most parents need to talk to their kids about life because they want our parents want us to go out into the real world and know what it's like to live on our own. And life lessons could be numbers of things, like how you're gonna survive living on your own when you have bills to pay, and when you go to work, like transportation, and yeah. So you have anything to add to that, Mia?
That sounds about right to me. And it's like we're leaving the stage of having everything already for us, and now we're going into the real world where not everything is expected to be the way we expect it to be. And so this falls into adulthood. So adulthood does mean you live on your own, and most adults maybe watching this still live with their parents, and that falls into financial and poverty. But adulthood can also mean things like you are stepping into a fresh and new generation. Your generation is leaving the world, a new generation is coming in, like Gen Alphas. They're the new ones. But adults also doesn't mean you have to start paying bills right away and stuff. It's teaching you. When we were teenagers, they taught us that not everything is going to be given to us, and that's when we start understanding what adulthood is. Then we step into the real world where we have to start thinking about what we want to do for our living, where we want to live, what we want to do, if we want to start our own family, if we're going to travel, if we're going to open up a whole business, things like that. And adulthood doesn't necessarily mean do it all at once. It's not mandatory to do it all at once, but our parents taught us that the sooner we do it, the better, because that way we don't fall behind. If we wait to get a house and we're in our 40s, it's not really going to be great, because you wasted those 30 years of your life not doing nothing really. But let's say you're 18, okay, we're already stepping into young adulthood, where when you turn 21 you're a full adult. you step into 18, you're like, okay, now I'm gonna start saving up money so that when I turn, let's say 20, 21, 22, I'm going to start off small with a small apartment or a studio, and then I'm going to build my way up by getting a good job, saving up more, getting a bigger house. You could even build your own house. A lot of people start buying land, and that's how you become successful. If you don't go to college, if you don't wait, if you wait and don't go to college, that's what I was saying, you're going to fall behind. And a lot of people say, oh, college isn't for everyone. Okay, it isn't for everyone, but if it's not for you, then the second choice would be military. Military pays pretty well. You start, they give you a house and things like that, and they help you live, but it's not the same as, okay, opening up a business in your 20s and doing this, but waiting last minute, it just really drags you down deep into a hole, Christian, what do you think about adulthood?
So, again, Mia, I do agree with what you're saying. Like, you guys, when it comes to adulthood, you gotta figure out what you're gonna do with your life. Like, you can't just sit and be lazy and do whatever the heck you want. You just gotta do something with your life, whether it's going to school or working or going to the military or trade school. Like, just do something with your life. And one thing that I've heard from somebody that I know is that if you guys don't want to go to college and you get a minimum wage job and you want to move out, that's not really going to help you move out. A minimum wage job at Best Buy or Target or Whole Foods or Walmart, it's not really going to help you move out. You would probably need to go to school and get a degree and get a good job. That would probably help you move out more than a minimum wage job. So, I don't know about trade school, if a trade school has a job that would help you move out, but you guys cannot waste your time just doing whatever and not do something with your life. Like, how are you going to take care of yourself? How are you going to support yourself when you're just being lazy and not figuring out what you're going to do with your life? So, just figure out what you're going to do and, and I know some people have strict parents. I've been there too. Like, my parents can be a little strict at times, and sometimes you're like, well, I want to move out because my parents are strict and they don't let me do this and they don't let me do that. Well, okay, it is what it is. You have to abide by their rules and yeah, until you can save money and move out. But the thing that I will say about moving out is you can't just save up. You gotta continue making money. Which means if you just save up to move out, you're not gonna have money. You're just gonna be broke. And you just gotta continue making money. So I don't know if you have anything to add to that, Mia.
I totally agree with you on that, actually, because, okay, let's say that this studio is $1,000 and you save that up, and then you say, oh, okay, well, I'm already set, I already have a home. No, it's you have to pay every month. Well, depending on who you get it from, you have to at least keep making and producing that money so that, let's say it takes you about 1 month to save $1,000. Okay, well, now when you think about it and you get a good job and every month the pay is due, then you're good because you're making that 1,000. But let's say it takes you a year to save up 1,000, then yeah, you kind of want to start considering to get a good and higher paying job, because if you take 1 year to save up, that's already your delayed 12 months. So this falls into maturity now, because if you're not mature enough to be able to do these things on your own, then there's not a way where you're going to, see freedom soon. I mean, I'm not saying that, living with your parents is like prison and stuff like that. No. What I'm saying is like, you going out and being your own person, you living on your own now. You're the adult. Show yourself, what it feels to be like living on your own, for that freedom of yourself. Your body wants to feel that too. But if you can't show yourself the maturity, then there's not really, seeing that anytime soon. Because I know a lot of people that are in like their late 20s, early 30s, and they still live with their parents, and they can barely even like help do the dishes or take out the trash or help your mom bring in the groceries. If you can't do those simple tasks, then you won't even be able to see yourself being on your own anytime soon. You have to at least help with anything in the house, at least, but more than what you do, at least help pay the rent for your parents, things like that. Because if you wait last all minute, maturity is a big concept. Because not having maturity in your life is you being delayed, and I don't mean it in a mean, disrespectful way, but not having maturity is not okay, because you have to learn how to take care of yourself. If you can't even take care of yourself, then say goodbye to living on your own. If you can't even make enough money when you're older because you didn't want to go to college and you didn't want to get a good job, then kiss that thing goodbye. But if it all falls into that maturity concept. And if you pray and pray to God that you become more mature and mature, you'll start seeing progress. You also have to work with yourself. Be like, okay, I need to set a goal. And when you set a goal, be on task. Keep that goal. You have to keep going, pushing yourself towards that goal. Okay, I want to become more mature. I want to save this much money. I'm going to start doing little things to help myself improve. And it all falls into mental health too. You have to be able to do these simple tasks in order to grow up to a strong person. And then you go out into the real world, because the real world is not going to give you everything by hand. So Christian, what do you think about maturity?
So I definitely agree, Mia. You guys have got to start acting your age. Age has nothing to do with maturity. It's just the maturity itself. If you can't even help your parents out with the dishes, or help your parents pay rent, or help your parents with groceries, that's just a sign that you can't really do that if you live on your own, or if you don't even want to go to the grocery store with your parents. I'm not saying you have to, but I mean, that's helping your parents out, because that's what you have to do when you live on your own, is go to the grocery store and get groceries. I mean, if you guys can't even do that, then that's a sign that you're not mature. So, yeah. And when it also comes to money, what I've noticed that a lot of people do with money is that sometimes I could ask them, or sometimes the way I see it in them, because I can also be visual, and I can ask them, hey, are you good with saving money and all that? And sometimes they'll be like, nope, because they just spend it on things that they don't really need. And if you all take economics in senior year, you guys will probably learn how to save your money more and how to be careful with money. Or if you read books that have to deal with how you could be good with your money, okay, then read books or watch videos on how you can be good with money. Let's say, for example, you want to buy a new video game, or if you want to buy a pair of shoes. Well, first and foremost, you should ask yourself, okay, I want this, but can I afford it? Things you can ask is can I afford it? Do I really need it? And if you don't need it, okay, then maybe you shouldn't buy it. But if you can't afford it, then why buy it and waste your money on it when you could be saving for other things? And yeah, like saving up to move out or saving up for a computer or something, because that's what I want to save up for, is moving out and a computer. So you got anything to add to that, Mia?
Yes, so I like what you said. In fact, myself, I do have, like, I did money and stuff with me. It's like funny though, because like a lot of my family members know that I do love money, in fact, so that's why I'm gonna get a good job and stuff. But also, throughout the months already, I've learned how to save more and not much. I don't spend as much as I used to, so that's an accomplishment goal. And setting goals for yourself is very important. It doesn't matter how long it takes, as long as you somehow accomplish that goal. That shows maturity. That shows strength. You don't want your weaknesses to attack you, because if you let them attack you, then there's really no way of telling when you'll get back to the strength, because you let yourself down. And that's very important. So how it feels to be, okay, so I wrote this down, in fact. How do we think living in our own will feel? So, okay, I'll start off with that. So the way I think it's going to feel is, it's going to be a little bit tough at first, because, we're brand new to this. It's like our brains are like, oh wow, okay, we have all this space. What are we going to do with it? What are we going to start thinking about? What job we're going to get? What we're going to do in this house. How are we going to cook? How are we going to afford food? How are we going to get clothing? It's all these necessities and stuff that we really never thought about, because our parents always gave us our necessities. And now stepping into our own homes, it's like, okay, wow, we are not going to get our wants anymore anytime soon, so we're going to kiss our wants goodbye. But if we're going to start seeing our needs, we're going to say, oh, hello, welcome in to our needs. Needs are food, toiletries, clothing, water, heater air, to keep cool and warm, and these kind of things. Like maybe we won't even see a TV for quite some time, because we're still trying to pay off our homes and stuff like that. So it all just falls into, life lessons, all these things that we were talking about. So I'm gonna let Christian finish off on how does she think living on her own will feel like.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with what you say again, Mia. So the way I think living on my own would feel like, I don't know when I'm gonna live on my own, but hopefully not when I'm 30, because I don't think we all want to live with our parents when we're 30 or older than 30. But how I feel living on my own would probably be like, it would probably be a little scary at first, because this is, like you said, Mia, this is going to be new to us. And one thing that my other friend had told me is, like, when it comes to paying bills and stuff, you have to see, before like buying things you want, like you have to see how much your rent is going to be, how much your bills are going to be, like water, electricity, food, air, or any entertainment. Like you have to see how much your rent is going to be before like spoiling yourself and buying things that you want. Because if you just buy things on what you want, and then your rent is close to being due, and then you don't have money to pay rent, then you're going to be behind on rent. And then even when you're behind on rent, they're going to kick you out. And then if you find another place to live, they're probably not going to want you to live with them, because what if you're behind on rent if you live somewhere else? Then where else are you going to live? You're probably going to end up in the streets. So, yeah. So, one thing I will say is, like what Mia said, maybe you're not gonna have a TV, or maybe you're not gonna have a computer, like, to do for fun, because you have to see how much rent is before buying things that you want. Like, and one thing I will say, when it comes to spending on things that you really want, maybe narrow it down to once a month or twice a month or something like that. Like, don't impulse spend, or else you're gonna be broke, or you're not gonna have any money. Like, try to narrow it down to once a month, probably. So do you have anything you want to say, Mia?
No, I actually totally agree with you on that. All of that, what you just said, it's very honest and true. But yeah, guys, this all the adulthood, maturity, and how we think it's gonna feel like living on our own. It all just falls under life lessons, and there's much more to unpack on life lessons. It could go into, like, our health and all that stuff, but that's for another time in another video podcast. So yeah, this concludes our podcast for today. I hope everyone enjoyed it. So yeah, if you guys have any suggestions or anything you guys wanted to give us feedback on for this video, go ahead and comment it down below. Again, if you guys don't want to comment it down, you guys are more than welcome to message me on my personal account here, or just send a chat, and I'll try to get to it as quick as possible. But yeah, guys, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your Friday. Christian, do you want to say goodbye?
Yes, if you guys have any more topics like what Mia says, you can also message her, and you can also message me on my account. And yeah, so farewell, guys. Have a nice day.
Yeah, guys, we'll see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.